Today I'm going to be showing an upcoming version of the Dynasty 2 tool I'm building. I have been implementing more features, updating the existing code, adding more, and removing some. I have furthered worked on the mod manager. In previous versions, when you were creating mods, you were only able to apply it to the main file, the bin file that the game's main files are in. That old method would prevent you from creating many different... You could create the mods, but back then, in the previous versions, let's say you wanted to edit Yellow Turban Rebellion. Well, if you had 10 different ideas for the map, you wouldn't be able to save all those 10 different changes. You had to keep starting over with the new idea, and if you wanted to go back to the previous ideas, you would just have to start all over again. Now, you can save those new changes you create. Let's say you want to create 10 different battles for Yellow Turban Rebellion with different units, officers, or editing their existing data, changing where they spawn on the map. You can store those in newly created mod files, which the mod managers would allow you to enable or disable. So if you ever want to, let's say you had 10 Yellow Turban Rebellion battles mods. If you want to use Battle Mod 1, you can tell the mod manager enable, Battle 1. Or if you're like, I want to use Battle 3 now, you could tell the mod manager do Battle 3, enable and disable the mods. Now you won't have to redo and have to give up the ideas you had. All you would have to do is, create the mod file, which is very easy. Single button to press and save, and then you can just enable whenever you want. This makes it easier and allows more customizability. It's more customizable. Now I've removed the ATK editor, text editor, and I think there was a 6, and have focused on the main 3. Stage data, which determines, the battles, the stages, the maps. The unit editor, and the item editor. Now some future hopes I have is an events editor, which would hopefully allow custom events. And a map editor. Those are my hopes. I cannot guarantee the map editor. I haven't found the map data yet, but it's a strong possibility. So I've already shown in the previous video the item editor and explained how to use it, and that it's going to have further features, allow you to determine the effects to use for arrows or any other item. So due to the limited time we have in this video, the 10-minute limit, I suggest watching the other video to catch up on what it does if you're new to this video or new to this this editor. Now stage data has been updated and changed, and when you do your edits for stage data and unit data, always create your offset file. Please do not modify it. It will mess up the reader, writer, and the game's files. It's a custom format I've created, and the reader needs it unmodified. It needs to be kept. If there's a problem with it, all you need to do is click the create offset file again. And you can click it as many times as you want. It deletes the current stage.ref and replaces it with a new correct one. Now it's always going to create a correct one. It should only mess up if someone modifies it. And when you create your mods, please do not try and modify them outside of the editor. It's a specific format, and it needs to be edited with the editor. So, with the offset file created, and I've shown this in a previous video, but I'll show real quick. You can edit the unit data. The stage data, unit slots, and whatnot. It's not complete yet. It's mostly done, but it needs more. Like currently it's editing whatever stage I was last working on, but soon you'll be able to specify which stage you want to use. And you'll be able to edit Force 1 and Force 2. And that example would be like Imperials on Yellow Turban Rebellion or the Yellow Turbans if you're siding with them. And as I said in the previous video, or said earlier, I recommend viewing the stage data editor video to summarize this. We're short on time. When you create the mod file, you just enter in the name. Now, if you forget and make a mistake and add an extension, you don't need to worry about it. The editor is programmed to give the custom extension. So whether you just only give the initial name and don't specify the extension, or you specify, it will always create the extension. It will remove the current extension if you accidentally add it and assign the correct one for the mod manager to read. Or if you leave it like this, just the file name, it will create the extension either way. And by being able to save your mods and create it as a separate mod file, you can have as many changes as you want, just enable and disable whenever you want, rather than have to start all over again. I mean, there are 64 slots for each force. So Force 1 and Force 2 for, the maps. Like, for the Imperials on the Yellow Turban Rebellion side, it's 64 in the file. And then 64 for Yellow Turbans in the, main file. That'd be a lot to start over and over again. So instead, just create the mods. It'll save you time. You can create as many as you want and make it easy. Unless you just enjoy doing it manually or, just starting over. That's up to you. I'm probably explaining it poorly. I apologize about that. And the editor is not required. You could do all this manually if you want. This makes it easier, in my opinion, because it's very easy to lose your place in all this data. Now, the same with the unit editor. You need to create the offset file first. It's going to create two. Unit1.ref is to be used for the main file. Unit2.ref is to be used with the template. Now, the template is for you to modify. In previous versions, you had to apply it to the main file. And if you messed up, you would be messing up the main file. Or if you wanted to change things because you have a different idea for a unit, you would have to keep reapplying and overwriting the previous data, so you weren't able to store the separate edits that you would want to use. If you had 10 different ideas for Zhao Yun, you could only have one at the time. Now, you can create those 10 different ideas with the create mod file and enable them whenever you wanted, or disable them with the mod manager. But with that created, now it's going to rely on the unit2.ref file to seek the data in the template file. So let's just say 11, 11. It's a quick example since we're low on time. 11, 11, 11, 11. Now this uses integer values, and these are references. They don't enter it for you. It's just for you to quickly access the integer values. Since I've entered in 11, we're getting Sao Sao for the name ID. Sao Sao there. So just use these for figuring out what you would like to use. It's up to you. You have the freedom, and it's up to you and what you would like to make. It's very customizable. So when you do your edits, you then click Submit Values. You need to do it for each edit you do. Each edit. So if you want to edit the next unit, you click Enter Unit to modify. And you keep doing that for different ones you want to edit. But with every unit you're selecting to edit, once you do your changes, do Submit Values. But if you leave the data as is, you don't need to click Submit Values. It only updates the temp file, the template, with the current values. So if you leave it as is, you don't need to click Submit Values. But if you edit it, click Submit Values. Then create your mod. Let's call it that. Create mod file. And I just create it with the extension DW2 unit. That's going to be the mod name or the mod extension for the mod manager to rely on. And as I said in the previous one, if you add the extension accidentally, it will still create the correct extension. Like, oh, did I create it? Let's see. Yeah, there we go. It still corrected it. It still removed the extension and applied that. This is helpful for you and me. And then you would enable your mods and disable. And then to, start with a fresh template again, all you would need to do is click the Create Offset Files. So every time you start the editor and close the editor, whenever you close the editor and want to start again, in order to have your unit template fresh and unmodified so that you can create more mods without having to move your existing ones, just click the Create Offset Files. I would be more detailed with the explanation, but we're limited to 10 minutes. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you for your time.